Hi everyone, this is Elizabeth from Organized Chaos, and today I'm so excited to show you a quick tour of my 2019-2020 school year planner setup that I've put together. I've made a few changes actually throughout this past school year, and I am using a few new supplies that I picked up recently. So I wanted to show you what I'm doing for the upcoming school year and give you a closer look at the pages that I have inside as well. If you are new to the Plan My Whole Life Music Teacher Planners, please go check out the information that I have on my YouTube channel as well as on my website, caldwellorganizedchaos.com. I have a lot more information about the different printables that are available to other music teachers. There are a lot of other options that I have available depending on your schedule and your planning needs. You can also find a lot more information about different supplies that I've used over the years, tips for how to use your planner effectively, all kinds of stuff like that that you'll want to check out if you're interested in doing something like this for yourself. So this is my teacher planner. It's also my life planner. Everything is in one planner. So I'm going to take you through the whole planner really quick. First of all, I picked up these rose gold planner covers from Michaels. They are Happy Planner covers. If you are using Happy Planner products, be sure, if you want to be able to use letter size paper, which I highly recommend, you are going to want to get the big size is what it's called. It's not the classic size. But these were on clearance at Michaels, and I was able to use my teacher discount, so I got a really good price, so I thought I would use these. And I also got these metal expander discs. I think they're 2 inches, but they're rainbow colored. So pretty, so I'm really excited to have these that I bought from the Happy Planner Me and My Big Ideas website. And then I got a set of Happy Planner folders a long time ago on clearance as well at Michaels. This one matched the discs perfectly, so I'm excited to have this to use in the front of my planner. I always keep different things usually related to life outside of school in front. Just papers that I need to reference later or something like that I'll stick in here. And a few school things too. Actually right now I have, for example, the stage setup that I'm going to use for a big concert I have this week, some important dates for the end of the school year. So I just throw different things in here that I need to reference. This is a zip pocket from the ARC system, which is another disc binding system, but it's sold at Staples. And I have been a longtime user of the ARC system. They have a really good line of solid, affordable, practical products. If you're not familiar with disc binding, it's these circular like coin-shaped things that bind your pages and everything else together, and everything is punched with these mushroom-shaped holes that attach to the discs. I find it is awesome for planners because it's like coil binding. The book will lay flat, but you can also, as I just showed you, add and remove things. So anyway, in this pocket, I always keep some blank note cards, some address labels, and some stamps, as well as a pencil. And then I usually keep also one of these black Frixion erasable pens. I use the slim version, which is 0.3. I like to be able to write with a fine point, and I use this more than anything else inside my planner. It just looks nicer and it erases really well. Behind the zippered pouch, I have a hard cover. It just keeps the pages and the tabs safe. And this is actually my old cover before I ever used these heavier duty, I don't know, cardboard covers. I just used this and it worked great for like 4 years. So if you're getting started with disc binding, just pick up this is from an ARC notebook letter size with a clear cover, and then it came with some filler paper, which is great to have anyway. And use that. You don't have to go out and get all these fancy other things. But I keep that in there. And then I have a laminated cover. This is actually the one that I made for this past school year, which I'm not quite done with yet. I'm going to be probably making a new one for the next school year, but I'm keeping this one for now. And then I have Year at a Glance at the front, 2019-2020. I printed my district calendar onto the next page that has all the dates I need for the school year. And then once my class schedule is finalized, I'll washi tape that into here. I find that often my schedule tends to change during the school year, or after I print it, I need to make changes, and that's annoying. So now I just tape it in. The next tab that I have here, actually the first tab, is curriculum. And this whole section is brand new this school year, and I love it. I kind of just set it up temporarily for this year. Not sure if I was going to want to keep it, but I am definitely keeping it. So now I've made a more permanent version. So I used to have, and I have these templates available to use as printables for other teachers, just a year at a glance page for each grade level, and I would map out my concepts and the scope and sequence for the year for each grade. So I now have everything, all of my lesson plans laid out for the school year digitally. So I was just using those on the computer, but I found that there were times like I go and watch my daughter's gymnastics class for an hour and a half, and I'm sitting there with no internet access, but I want to be able to do some of my lesson planning. So for situations like that, having a hard copy has been really helpful. So I actually printed out, first of all, the Year at a Glance, which shows all the skills and concepts for the year by month. And this tab is kindergarten. So this is all kindergarten. And then this is the district standards that we have, the grade level expectations for each grade level, organized by concept and process, very similar to the national standards. And then behind that, I've actually printed each month's lesson bank. So you can learn more about my lesson planning system and my monthly lesson banks on my website, caldwellorganizedchaos.com. I also have a free course you can take if you want to do this for yourself, because it's really awesome. But I've printed these out for every month of the year for each grade level. So it goes kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th grade, which are all the general music grades that I teach. And then behind that, I have a tab for chorus. So this is actually this current year's information right now. I'll update this later, but for my chorus tab, I have events on the front. So I have the monthly calendar for the school year, and I write in all the different concerts and performances that I'll be doing with my choirs. And then behind that, I have some space where I write down song ideas that I have, and I put them in the month where I would be starting to teach them. These are extra pages for curriculum that I want to remember to update. And then I have my month tab, which I keep this bookmark to use to mark the current month. So right now it's at the front because I just put in all the new months, but I use this also as a dashboard to hold my sticky notes. So I have little tabs and square ones and then some longer ones on the back. But this is the current month, that I'm working with, and then I've set up the rest of the months for the school year behind that, all the way up through July 2020. And then behind that is the week tab. So I'm actually still finishing up the school year here, so I have a few more weeks of lesson planning pages for the 18-19 school year still here. We just finished this week, and this gives you an idea of what my lesson planning pages typically look like. So I write in all of my lesson plans. I have life planning up here and more space down here for extracurricular activities and stuff in the evening, a running to-do list, and a space where I tend to keep post-it notes and running lists and stuff like that over here on the side in the notes section. And then this is the upcoming week. This is just a half sheet that I stuck in because I have, like I said, a big performance coming up and it just doesn't fit on a sticky note. So there you go. But I keep the current week marked with this magnetic clip, which I've been using for years and years. But it clips together the weeks that I'm not using yet so that I can easily flip to the current week. But I am going to show you after the end of this current school year that we're finishing up, I have some weekly planning pages for the summertime, and I'm trying out something new this year. I have some different templates in the business planner section of the Plan My Whole Life planners, and I've used a different one for the summertime in the past, but I am going to try out this one this year. I think it's nice because it has a to-do list for the week and then a notes section, but then there's also just empty space for each day. And I kind of like the vertical format because it's easier for me to mark things that go, if we take a 3-day trip, I can mark it that way and just, draw an arrow down or whatever. So that's what I'm going to be using this summer, and then we'll have the new weekly planning pages for the following school year after that. I generally just keep about 6 months of weekly planning pages in my planner at a time. There's no reason for me to have the entire school year in there at once. My book is giant enough without it. So I'll probably print out through December for now, and then I'll add in the pages starting in January after the winter break. So the next tab is the school tab. And this is where I keep some really basic information about my students' IEPs and medical information. It's just too much for me to keep track of the giant stack of accommodations and medical accommodations that I need to know about my hundreds of students. So this allows me to consolidate the information that I really need to have at my fingertips into a place where I can easily access it if I need to. And then my parent contact log, which has been invaluable. It's really nice. I can just easily check off if it was email, phone call, written, or in-person conversation, the student name, and then over here I tend to write what the topic of the conversation was, as well as the contact information, which makes it a lot easier if I'm contacting the same parent repeatedly, to not have to sift through all of the emergency contact information for the whole school to find what I need. Professional development. And I've hidden the substitute contact information, but I love having a place to keep track of my favorite subs after having some really positive and some really negative experiences with some different substitutes. I find it helpful to be able to contact subs directly. And then I also keep track of how many sick days I have and how many I've taken that year, and personal days, so I know how many I have left without having to look it up. And what lessons each class has done with the sub. That's really helpful if I'm at home trying to figure out what lesson I want the substitute to do that day if I'm going to be out. And a wish list. I keep a running wish list each school year so that when it comes time to order, it's easy for me to remember the things that I thought of during the year that I'd like to have. And then this next tab is called Organized Chaos. So this is all of my business planning materials. So I have long range planning to map out things that I want to talk about and ideas that I have for the school year, especially things that I want to do at a certain time. And this is actually a list that I'm going to be transferring in from last year, but I have a space to put in product ideas and blog post ideas. And then I have expenses and income, which is great when I go to file my taxes. Makes it so much easier. So I actually do this by calendar year rather than school year, because then when I go to do my taxes, I know which months I need. It was getting a little cumbersome to keep track when I was printing from August to July before. And then the home tab is the last one that I have. This is where I write down all the birthdays I want to remember, or anniversaries or things like that I want to make sure I send a card or whatever. I always look here when I'm decorating and writing out my monthly calendar so that I can keep track. And contact information, really helpful to have, because I have locked myself out of my house more times than I'd care to admit. And my phone is usually with my keys, so I can't look up anyone's phone number on my phone if my phone is unavailable. So this has been really nice to have. It's also just an easy reference for addresses and things. And then I keep track of some of those longer term cleaning tasks, like changing the air filter, things that I don't do as often so I don't forget. And then this was really helpful when I lost my purse and I had my wallet stolen, and I needed to update my credit card information. I pay most of my bills automatically online, but having the name of the utility supplier and the website where I can update my information and stuff like that, it's really helpful to have. And medical, like doctors' names and addresses. Every time I fill out a school form, I have to have this information. So I write all of that in here. And then at the back, I have a clear folder. This is where I keep papers from school primarily. I actually keep all the notes that I send home and then get back from parents here, as well as things like meeting schedule and PD schedule, all those things that I need to be able to reference related just to school that I'm going to be keeping for the school year, and then the back cover. So I hope you found this interesting and useful. I'm so excited to be setting up my new planner and to get started using my new planner with these new supplies. It's just always fun to change things up a little bit. I'd love to see your planner if you're setting one up for yourself. Be sure to tag me, Caldwell Organized Chaos, on social media so that I can see it, or send it to me. You can find out more about my planner on my website, caldwellorganizedchaos.com. And send me an email if you want to ask me any questions or talk more about planners. I'd love to do that with you. Thanks so much for watching.